Welcome back to another beautiful sunset evening in Paraguay. Are you ever going to get tired of these? Nope, neither do I. Beautiful. So yes, we are here on a beautiful evening here in Asunción, and I'm joined by Andrew, who is one of my best friends here. He's been here for quite a while now. He knows this place. He lives and breathes this place, and he is an expert on health. He is a systems-based health coach, and he is helping some people overcome some diseases that they thought they could never overcome before. And I wanted to have him on so we can have a conversation. We can talk some Paraguay, of course, as we always do on this channel. That's why you're here. And talk about ways that living in a place like this can enable you to take so much better care of your body than you could before.
Absolutely.
So, Andrew.
Thank you for having me on, brother.
Of course.
I really appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah, as always, guys, not going to be too much of a structure to this. We're just going to free flow. And who are you? Why are you here? Actually, I'll ask you that question later. The all-important question: why are you in Paraguay? I'll save that for the next little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and just a quick overview, a better job than I did of what you do.
Thank you.
And we'll take it from there.
Sure. My name is Andrew. I primarily work with people who are really, really sick.
Okay.
They have what's called inflammatory bowel disease or Crohn's disease and ulcerative colitis. And I have Crohn's disease myself. I almost died of this condition when I was 16 years old. It was very serious what was going on.
Oh my goodness.
It's essentially, you could call it an autoimmune condition, but if we are more precise, it's what's called an autoinflammatory condition.
Okay.
And it's when the immune system and the microbiome just go haywire. And about 1% of the population has this going on. And what we see is in industrialized countries, especially the United States, Great Britain, this condition has the highest prevalence in those countries right there.
Wonder why.
And, our philosophy at Sistema, which is my company, is that, when we get back closer to nature, when we use science and evidence, when we have community, when we bring people together, when we eat nutritious food, we work better with our doctors, we have a better relationship with our healthcare system. People who are literally running to the bathroom 20 times a day, they can't eat the foods they want, they can't live the life they want, they thrive. And so that's what we're working to do. Yep.
I love that.
That's our work, and I'm here, in Paraguay because it's a healthy place to be, and it's good for me.
Okay. Awesome. Is it safe to say you guys at Sistema are fighting the medical matrix?
I don't think that's fair to say.
Okay.
I think, I would like to say that, we are working with the medical matrix in that way, and I would just say that I think that there's always this, when you go see like a functional or an integrative or an alternative or a naturopathic doctor, they don't really understand what the mainstream guys are doing. And then you have the mainstream guys who have no idea what the integrative people or nutrition, And so what I do is, people ask me, are you an integrative practitioner? Are you a functional practitioner? What are you? And my answer is yes and no. I don't think we fall into any category, but what I've always tried to do, even since college, is unite people with different ideas and different ways of practicing medicine and health, and different ways of looking at science. And I don't think that there's one necessarily way to heal from health. But I think that if, for each individual person, if they can take the least harmful, most evidence-based things from everyone and then sort of put it through their own filter, we're going to have the greatest success. Does that make sense?
That does.
Yeah.
Like taking control for one's own well-being.
Yeah.
Being intentional about their habits, the food that they put into their mouth, practices. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I want to continue on this while you're on the topic. Let's keep going down let's go a little bit deeper on health. Later, we can talk more Paraguay generally. somebody here is watching this video right now, and they're thinking, okay, well, I heard they got steak, they got Latin food, I guess. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the extent of what they know about Paraguayan nutrition. They're probably not, I would assume most people watching probably aren't extremely familiar with the healthcare system here per se. Maybe they are somebody from a country like the United States, where due to just their environment and the people are there around, and just the day-to-day life that they live, they don't find themselves really thinking about, okay, how can I practice better, healthier habits, because life just moves too fast. And they're looking at Paraguay for a bunch of different reasons, but maybe this health and well-being reason is kind of pulling at their attention a little bit. What should they know to make a more informed decision on that basis, on how healthy can I be in Paraguay?
Oh my God. It's so much easier than any place I've ever been to in my life. It's a very fertile country. It is a fertile place. Things just grow here. I was with my wife's family. My wife is Paraguayan, and we had some mandioca. It is a starchy thing. We don't want to eat too many, too much of that. And I made a joke to them, and I said, "Hey, this is local." And she said, "Yeah, it's grown over there." And she pointed.
Imagine that. Imagine being able to say, "Yeah, it's grown over there,"
and it tasted amazing. Personally, I think probably a healthy diet for many humans is to incorporate healthy animal products, animals that are happy. If you buy high quality meat here, if you've ever seen the cows, these cows have one of the best lives you've ever seen. You compare the cows of how they are raised generally in Paraguay, compared to the United States. It's like they're on dirt. Okay, in the United States, they're all like caged in.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's just like
they're under
you
a
look
roof.
at him. They're like, these cows have such a beautiful view. They're under the mango trees. You know what I mean? And of course, you have to buy high quality products. You can get organic things here. We have a great market here called Casa Rica. You can buy local produce in much smaller from much smaller vendors here, and it's really easy to eat a very nutrient dense diet here. I do it every single day. I would say here, if you come here and you are plant-based or you're vegetarian, that's fine. But you'll be missing out on a very traditional part of Paraguayan cuisine, which is the meat. I will say one thing, about being here. I'd say it's good to have a good fish oil supplement here, because you're probably not going to be eating a ton of fish right here necessarily, unless you eat some beautiful river fish, which you can, which is super delicious.
There's an incredible fish market in Mariano. We need to go one day.
Okay, we should.
We need to go.
We should.
Let's bring one of you guys. One of you guys, reach out to me, link in the description. Instagram, I just made an email, by the way. Email me or book a consultation, and we're going to take you to the fish market.
I would love that.
They literally, it's like Seattle, where they throw you the fish. Like, they go straight out the river, and it's massive fish market. Anyways, continue.
But what's interesting is I just had the most beautiful lunch with my Paraguayan family here. It's this incredible fish soup that has a little bit of cream in it and vegetables, and just so nutrient dense, so good, here. So you definitely can get really good fish here as well. And I'd also just say, in regards to if someone wants to think about their health, it is no one needs to hear this, who's listening to you, because they know, but it is a different way of living life here. No one freaks out if you are a little bit late, or, if just something is not going exactly like it should. For example, even when people have a tendency in the United States for a lot of road rage, for example.
Oh my God.
And, I even have
Most
to
ridiculous
stop
thing ever.
myself when I'm driving here, because I get upset at a Paraguayan driver who honks at me, but they're just saying, "Hey, I'm here."
Right.
And they drive crazy here, but they're just saying, "I'm here." They're not upset,
There's no need to assume hostility.
No.
Right. You don't need that cortisol spike.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Okay.
So those are the things that I would say that it's really easy to eat a nutrient-dense diet here. One thing we do have right now, like we don't have access to all of the amazing supplements and herbs that you do in the United States.
Fair.
And I am working very hard to make those accessible here. Tune in a few months from now. All those are going to be, I'm going to work to make all of the incredible supplements and herbs that we have in the United States accessible.
That's awesome.
And I want to say one last thing. Paraguay, if you are not feeling well, for example, sure, you can go to the doctor and you can have actually what I consider a very affordable, excellent healthcare experience here. I've gone to the hospital here, not for anything serious, just to get, something checked out.
Watched the second video ever on my channel to see the experience of when I cut my hand open and had to get stitches.
Okay.
Great experience.
Yeah, and it was just like, it was easy. They probably took you right away. You know what I mean? There's no there's no waiting, here. It's like, it is more simple. And, the dentistry is amazing here.
Yep.
I would say, but let's say you're not feeling that well, maybe, for example, Brazilians go to the doctor, like they always go to the doctor, they go to the doctor, they go to the doctor. You could also just go to what's called a jujeira. And a jujeira, you see what we have here, we have some tereré. This is actually the original country, the original place where the Guarani, the traditional people, the indigenous people here invented yerba mate.
It started here.
It started
Book
here.
it. Not Argentina.
Nope.
Not Brazil. Not Uruguay.
Brazil.
Right here.
Right here.
Before you continue on that, can I ask you for some?
Yeah, absolutely.
Me invitas?
Absolutely.
You want to know how to say this in Spanish? Me invitas? So here in Paraguay, invitas directly translates to invite, but they use that word for, can I have some? For anything, right? Some gum, some tereré. So, él me invitó. Anyways, continue.
No, I mean...
Tereré. What's the lore on the tereré?
So listen, everyone thinks of herbal... When they think herbal medicine, they think of Ayurvedic medicine from India. They think of Chinese traditional medicine, you know what I mean, in that way. They think of homeopathic European medicine. Paraguay has an entire system of herbal medicine that has scientific evidence to support it that no one knows about and no one talks about. And half the country drinks every single day. So when you...
It's insane.
And no one knows about it. No one knows about it. So what essentially happens is you go to the side of the road, just like you'd go to a Starbucks drive-through, but instead they're these amazing jujeiras who are women, or jujeros, which is a Guarani word, okay, right here. It essentially means like medicine woman, medicine man. And you tell them, they ask you how you're feeling. You say, okay, my stomach hurts. I'm inflamed. I didn't sleep well. My girlfriend broke up with me last night. Whatever it is, I'm having weird dreams. You literally could tell them anything. They've got an herb for that, and they will put it together for you, and they will put it in the most amazing cold. Okay, it's the only place in the entire world that drinks cold yerba mate.
Yep.
Okay, into a cold infused water infusion. Okay, and then your yerba goes in. What's it called? A wampa?
The wampa.
The wampa right there. And there's hielo, which is ice in here. And there's menta, there's boldo. There's a number of different herbs. Like at my house, there's what's called taropi growing right there. And when you look at the scientific evidence to support this stuff, it's there. There's been small, studies that have actually shown that these things work. And, some of the herbs are just like not even known. They're like in Guarani. And personally, there have been days that I have not felt that great, especially when we've been living in our country house out in what's called Tobati, which was a countryside home that we have, La Granja. And I've just gone to jujeira, especially when it's warm out, and I just feel so much better after drinking some tereré.
Nice. That's such a good point. I mean, so you guys here, I do at some point want to do a dedicated video on tereré, and I'm gonna give you guys all of the sauce, everything you need to know to prepare it, what all the items are, what everything is called, how to go to the jujeiro, what to ask for, how to store it, right? And just how to take you from like a beginner, like, oh, I tried tereré by ordering el café de acá experience, to actually knowing what you're doing and actually putting yourself in a position where you can make it a part of your day-to-day life. You guys have seen me on many of my videos now where I sit there at my desk and I have my little Paraguay termo on the desk. If you watch my live streams, I'm always ripping my tereré. And yeah, it's just like, it's an easy way to get these herbs, right? These healthy ingredients, these detoxifying ingredients into your body. And yeah, people do it here. And of course they realize it in the fact that they do consciously know of the health benefits, but it's not some over the top thing, right? They don't overthink it. A lot of times in the US, when we think of medicine or trying something for our well-being, it's like we put it through a massive microscope because that's what the system has trained us to do. There it's like, no, oh, I'm feeling this way. Let me drink some insert herb first. I'm sure you would know better in terms of what those are. And then if I continue to feel bad, okay, maybe I'll look into a more serious solution. Maybe I'll take a pill from the pharmacy. Maybe I'll get some medical attention. But you don't need to cut to the end, right? Try something more simple like that. It's more natural. It's better for you in the long run. And it doesn't necessarily have to be something that you do when you feel bad. If you just make it a part of your day-to-day life, like many people do here, it's preventative medicine, right? You're consuming it on a regular basis and it tastes so damn good. It's fun. It's a game. It's like, okay, you start to learn what these herbs are, what they're called. And then every time you go to drink your daily tereré, you think, okay, what am I going to try today? Some ginger, some mint, some boldo, some burrito. Let's try it out. Let's mix it out, mix them up, and let's find out the combination that I like. And then you start to realize, like, wow, this goes way beyond just some drink that people drink here because, oh, it's Paraguayan. Like, no, I want people to come here, just like a lot of other things in Paraguay. Don't come here and appreciate and just come here and say, oh yeah, I like tereré just to feel like you need to fit in, right? Or just to like, oh yeah, I'm cultural. I drink tereré. Like, no, that's fine, right? Appreciate the culture, of course, but find your own reasons to appreciate the benefit that it brings to your life on a daily basis. Same goes for a lot of things here, right? It's not just about, the cost of living is low, so therefore it's cheap. No, the cost of living is low, so I can get red meat at a more affordable price and I can include that into my diet. I can, go for a walk instead of having to drive in traffic for an hour like a lot of us have to do in the States. I can maybe live in a slightly nicer apartment so I can have a balcony to get the sunlight to just take a breath. Right? I don't want to go on a tangent here, but what I'm getting at is find the real reasons for these cultural customs or lifestyle improvements of being here, and find a way to really bake them into your day-to-day life. And that's when you really start to appreciate what you've found here. And tereré is such a nice little microcosm of that, a nice little example of that. So yeah, stay tuned for that. I'm going to break down at some point on a video. We might even just do it together, honestly.
We should.
We could easily do that.
We can bring in I have an amazing friend. He's like about 70 or 80 and he's a jujero.
We should do that.
And we could bring him in.
Like the video if you want to see that.
Yeah.
We could have him, the three of us. I'm guessing he speaks Spanish, right?
He speaks a little bit of English. He lived in New York for a little bit. He speaks Guarani. He's he's like a grandfather figure to us a little bit, and he's so kind. And nice. He's an amazing. It's where I got this piece right here. And I would just say, guys, just like Esteban said, you can come here and go to Starbucks, that's fine. But just like try, instead of you're gonna think oh, where can I get my cold brew in the morning? Okay, what if you instead go to a jujera on the street?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And this has just as much caffeine as coffee. The health benefits are arguably quite a bit wider, quite a bit more diverse. You're going to be supporting a local Paraguayan who is who's going to be earning their livelihood, who is making this stuff.
Now, I recommend to start, we'll go more depth on the video, have just regular yerba with ice water. You can start there. Just try yerba and water. Keep it simple. The yerba you can easily get at the grocery store. Then you start to get the feel for it. You know how to pump the water. You know what to do. You know how to set it up. Then you take your termo de hierro and say, cook me up a combo. Boom, 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 boom. Ask me, I'm giving away the sauce of the video. And then you ask them, tell me what you put in it, and then eventually you'll go from like level 1 to level 2, level 3. But start with yerba and ice water and just try it, feel it out. Definitely buy this gear. And a point you made about coffee, sure, you can definitely argue there's more health benefits. I personally think, let me know if you agree, that having a more steady caffeine intake instead of coffee, which is more of like a truckload and then a crash, is like better for your energy. Do you find that?
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. And I would say, one thing with both coffee and tereré and mate, you want to intake a little bit of L-theanine with it. You always want to do that in sort of a 2-to-1 ratio. If you're drinking green tea and black tea, you don't actually know, you don't need the theanine because it's in there, but it's not in as higher concentrations in coffee and in mate. There's a little bit of theanine in there, but it's something that's really helpful. In this one right here, I have 2 things in here that actually Jujeras don't usually put in their tereré, which is turmeric, curcuma,
Yep.
and jengibre, which is ginger.
Yep.
Right there. And so and they sell it at all the markets. It's right there. Paraguayans use it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They don't often put it in their tereré. So what I have realized in being in Paraguay is the power of water infusions. Like you think about taking all these supplements and doing these things, which I do, However, don't underestimate the fact that you can just get cold water. You can get a mortar and pestle. I'm forgetting the Paraguayan word for it.
Mortero.
Okay, perfecto. And you can essentially just make a cold water infusion. You don't even need like hot water to do it. You can do it with cold water. And that blew my mind being here. Yeah.
There you go. That's awesome. I want you to elaborate on the point of things just grow here. Like, what do you mean by that?
Man. Okay. Well, I think I want to, if we want to talk about that, I think I want to bring up this Guarani word that I've recently learned, and it's called awaje.
Okay.
And this is a simple word used in everyday speaking to just say thank you.
Okay.
It just means thank you. And most Paraguayans would probably just know it as thank you. But when you go for a deeper meaning of the word, you realize that this is actually kind of the core philosophy of the Guarani, which is your goal in life is to become the best version of yourself. A ripe, perfect mango, right here, a perfectly growing, developed mango. So like in a lot of religions, and I promise I'm going to also just talk about what I mean by things just grow here. But I think this is the foundation of it, the energy that is here, that, in some religions, I'm not going to name any of them, but the sort of central tenet is that of a courtroom verdict. Are you going to go to a really nice place after you die? Or are you going to go to a not so nice place after you die? And I respect that. I respect all religions. Okay. But the Guarani were much more focused on what we're doing when we are alive right now. Okay. What is happening in this life right here? And the whole idea is awaje, to become a developed, ripe fruit, to become the wholest, best version of yourself, and to actually find paradise while you're alive. Here, there was less of an emphasis on death in the Guarani culture, in traditional Guarani. And when I say everything just grows here, I actually mean that. When you put a seed in the ground, it just grows immediately.
That's so valuable.
It is a subtropical environment here. And you could say that like you need to be, to be the optimum healthy version that you are, you need to be in the optimum environment. A mango needs the optimum environment. It needs some cold, actually, in its early stages. And then it needs that perfect, really hot, warm, wet sort of environment that it has. And I think we can also extrapolate that to way more of your sort of area of expertise here, which is that just Paraguay is the fastest growing economy in South America. You know what I mean? Right here.
There you go.
It is growing.
Everything grows here.
You can just feel it here. You can just feel it, that things are exploding here in every way. And I also will just say, like, I bring all of this as someone who is learning, who someone will continue to learn and who is not born Paraguayan. I have been accepted into a Paraguayan family. I'm working on my Spanish and my Guarani. I have a long way to go with my Guarani for sure. And yeah, we want to just, I think it's really important that we honor the people that came before us here. And that we take, you know, these traditions with humility, with respect. And at the same time, the world deserves to know that Paraguay has an entire system of herbal medicine that half the country drinks every single day that no one knows about. Because this could help a lot of people. I work with people, Esteban, every day who are dying right now of inflammatory bowel disease, of other conditions. Their life is destroyed. They are having high fevers every day. They're running to the bathroom multiple times per day. They can't live the life that they want to. I was that way in many ways till I discovered that I could actually change my diet. I could actually put myself in the right environment, and I could do what no doctor told me that I was able to do, which is completely heal and be in remission from Crohn's disease.
Wow.
And that's possible to do here. So I would say if you are suffering from a chronic health condition, there's probably no better place to be in the world. There might be a few, but
this is up there.
It's up there.
It's up there, 100%. I love that. Yeah, I mean, like you said, things just grow here. Things just grow here. I mean, yeah, a lot of what I do speak on, you've heard me say it like a broken record, and I'm going to keep breaking that record by the time you come to Paraguay, viewer, that record's going to be shattered by how much you've heard me say it. This place is growing. This place is growing. Watch my second to last upload on where Paraguay will be in the next 5 years. And yeah, I did talk a lot about the economy there. I talked a lot about the real estate sector. I talked a lot about the influx of foreigners, but screw all that. Like the seeds, right? The cows, the grass, the sun, the plants. Those are, again, my overall thesis there was these are intrinsic factors to the country that you cannot take away from it, right? I mean, it would take, short of, I don't know, a nuclear bomb or like a supernova to just completely change the microbiome of Paraguay, right? The ecology of Paraguay, which is one that produces food, fresh food, and an environment that's, I want to say agradable in Spanish. I'm honestly losing the English word that's good.
Yes.
I'm looking for a better word, but whatever. Agradable for your body. And yeah, it's growing into that right mango, one sit of tereré at a time. And I think about it a lot when people ask me like, why Paraguay? Like, why do you like this place so much? Or even at this point, why am I here? Watch my video. I hate just plugging a bunch of my videos, but my content tends to interweave a lot. I made a whole video on the question of why are you in Paraguay? I talked about that whole concept. But at this point, I do try to give people pretty thorough answers. And an angle I take a lot, and I think about this more and more every day, is like, okay, how much is my health worth? Right? Like, sure, maybe I could be living in the United States and I could be earning more United States dollars. How much is that worth? How many of those United States dollars would I be willing to sacrifice in order to have more energy every single day, in order to feel better later into my twilight years of my life, in order to physically be alive for more time on this earth, in order to not have to be as dependent on medical institutions and drugs and external supplementations, right? Again, all of this stuff is accomplishable in the United States. We understand that. If you are really intentional, you can live just as healthy of a life in the United States, but you are having to swim against the current, right? In a lot of ways, you have to swim against the current. You have to be a little bit more nimble to dodge these processed ingredients, to dodge bad habits, to not spend so much time sitting down, to not spend so much time away from sunlight, to not spend so much time underneath LED light and consuming Red 40 and ingesting fluoride in your toothpaste. Like we go on and on and on. But it's just like, okay, why don't I put myself in a position where I can have a higher likelihood of being in a healthier body? My body is the place where I live out every single second of every single day I will ever live. And that same goes for you. Look down, look away from the screen for a second. Look down. It's your body, your legs, your arms, your digestive system, your heart, your lungs. This is the vehicle that you spend every single second in. So when you're thinking of how you want to live your life and where you want to position yourself, heavily consider optimizing it, right? Sure, maybe you'll have to sacrifice some other things. Obviously, I think if you really know what you're doing, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can make great money here and live a healthy life. That's what I'm trying to do. And I want to take you guys on the journey with me. But again, if I really had to pick between the two, between the final, let's just pretend that it's still, the American dream is still a lie. That's a debated topic. But between the American dream and a few $100,000 or a few million more United States dollars over the course of my life, or a better this, I'm choosing a better this, because money, you don't take it with you after you die. And maybe you'll make a whole lot more of it and you'll die sooner and you won't take it with you after that sooner date anyways. So yeah, sorry to go on another tangent, but I just think it's so important that it's hard to put into words. And again, Paraguay, like we said, it's not the end all be all. There are other places that I would say rank very, very highly. But whether it's Paraguay, whether it's another Latin American country, whether it's Southeast Asia, whatever it is, prioritize your health, and feeling better will make literally everything better. So I want to transition now from health to, tell us, what brought you here?
Oh, well, it was so funny because my best friend at the time, who's now here, by the way, he was in Thailand, and I was in between a housing situation in San Diego. I was single. I was starting up my business, Sistema, which has totally exploded since I've been in Paraguay, by the way.
Awesome.
You know, just saying, because and again, I'm in an optimum environment. I'm in the healthiest relationship I've ever been in my life. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life here. You know, I was looking at Thailand, and I've never been to Asia. I would like to go, but it just I wasn't feeling it. It just was like, everyone goes there. So I just was like, you know, I want to practice my Spanish. I want to explore more of Latin America. It's winter here up in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm going to go to Buenos Aires. Went to Buenos Aires with no notice. I loved it. I loved it. One thing I lacked there was I lacked nature. Yeah. Buenos Aires it's very difficult
very
to
urban.
Get anywhere, but I loved it. I was there. And then on the last day, and this speaks to how kind the people of Paraguay are. They are some of the warmest, nicest, most loving people you have ever met in your entire life. I just am sitting at a coffee with I was with I think she's a Venezuelan entrepreneur, and this other woman comes up to me. She's with her boyfriend right there. I'm not going to name where she is right there.
I actually just heard this story last night. I was talking to her boyfriend.
Really?
Yeah, well, I've been at also I'm at an event. He's a great friend of mine as well. And he was like, you know, by the way, like, we showed Andrew the light of Paraguay. And I was like, really? And he told me the story. But continue on.
It was like intrusive. I was like, she wouldn't like shut up, you know? And I was like, what are you talking about? And you know what I mean? And then she befriended me on Instagram, and then she just wouldn't stop messaging me for like every month. She'd be like, here's what's happening in Paraguay. You know what I mean? You should come here. And then finally, again, I was in between. I didn't have access to my house for 3 months because my roommate's kids were going to be there for the summer. And I came from a very beautiful place, Ocean Beach, San Diego. Also one of the last few paradises in the United States. Still is, by the way. However, then I just was like, okay, I'm coming. And she showed me all around here. And I was like, wow, this is going to be a great place. I'm going to go on a bunch of dates while I'm here. And Esteban, I went on one date here, fell in love. Wasn't exactly what I was expecting. And now I'm here, and that's what brought me here. And I think you've heard a lot of why I'm staying here. Yeah. And I've kind of just, you know, I've kind of just decided that this is my home. you know, and that right now. And, you know, I will say that both my wife and I, we love surfing. That's a really important part of us, and you don't have that here. But guess what? You can just take a bus to Brazil.
I've taken that
Florida.
bus.
It's the most, it's
a comfy
it's
bus.
like $60. Okay,
Yeah.
and then this is how you do it right. All right, just for anyone, I'll give this as a bonus here. Okay, you take the one that's like 4 p.m. Okay, and I want you to like download all of the work you need to do like right there, because you can get an internet connection on the bus. You can get it.
Mine was very good. It might be hit or miss.
Wow. Okay.
I had 150 megabits Starlink Wi-Fi the entire time.
Okay. Amazing. Yes.
But you never know.
Okay, so you never know, but I would just say I was broadcasting from my phone and using the bus, and it was a little intermittent. But then you just lock in the most comfortable seats you've ever had, you know, right there. And then at about, I don't know, 10, 11 p.m., you stop for dinner right there.
Yep.
So then it's dark out. You've gotten a bunch of work done already. So you haven't lost
Very
any
productive.
time. You're getting work done right there. You can lock in. You could work on a deep work project, do some writing, whatever you're going to do. And then you eat a dinner. Don't eat a huge dinner. We don't want to eat a ton of food right before we go to bed. But they stop at a healthy restaurant in Brazil right there. And then just pass out. Go to bed. You know, it's very easy to sleep on these buses. Even for, you know, I have a lot of trouble sleeping on planes. No trouble sleeping
it's
on
much
this
easier.
bus. Take some, you know.
What bus line was it?
NSA?
NSA,
The nice one.
Nuestra Señora Asunción.
Okay.
The best.
Yeah. And take some sleepy herbs. You know, drink some chamomile tea, do what you want. And pass out. And then all of a sudden you wake up and you're an hour away from your destination. You've lost no time. You've spent $60 and now you're at the beach.
Yep.
Like, why not? Like, that's how easy it is.
Yep.
I mean, sure, you can fly there. That's easy too. You know, you can fly there, but I would just take the bus personally.
Why not? Why not?
Yeah. Did that answer your question, sir?
That did. That did. Of why you got here. So we're gonna start to wrap up here, ish. I say that. Y'all know me. I say that, and you never know how much longer I'll keep going. Shout out to you if you're watching this for long. You have a high attention span. Yeah. I mean, this is great stuff too.
I've heard the people that binge watch your videos.
Yes.
I've met them they're real.
Yeah, no, they're real. I fucking love you guys. Yeah, I mean, you guys see my channel. It's not a huge audience, but there are several of you guys who have good people. You know what you want in life. You see the value in Paraguay. Everybody's coming from a different angle. You have a high attention span, and y'all watch my stuff. I'm not the flashiest video maker. I'm not going to try to clickbait you for views. Anyways.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
How do you think that we can, like, make the continue as foreigners and as Americans? There's not that many Americans here, you know, as many. How can we, like, help make this a really, really beautiful country and respect the people that are here?
It's an incredible question.
That's what I really want to know.
I should. I've spoken on this topic many times on videos, but I should make a dedicated video on this. But yeah, to answer it, one, come for the right reasons. Of course, come for the right reasons. And I think a lot of this is intrinsic, right? You have to be somebody who is motivated by the right motivations. I encourage you to come here if you are in a position in life where you want to, one, spend significant time, two, improve your life in many facets, and three, find purpose and find meaning and find good people and find peace, right? It's not just peace and, like, people say, oh, I've promised I'm going to stop doing this. Watch my video on why Paraguay is a chill place. I described that concept. People say this place is chill. I talked about that. But it goes way beyond just, oh, the streets are made of cobblestone and there's no beach and people hang out and drink da-da-da. Like, sure, yes. But in reality, what we mean by finding tranquility is finding in an environment where we can remove friction. We can stop swimming against the current. And a lot of us are coming from countries where we have just a lot of friction, of static noise in our life, of negative influences from other people, of people running around screaming about politics, of toxic ingredients in the foods that we eat. Of poor lifestyle habits, of expensive cost, of road rage on the road, right? It's like all these things that are just blasting you with cortisol on a day-to-day basis. Here you can just start to strip those away, right? You're stripping those away. It's like taking off layers of clothes, right? No more politics, no more ridiculous ingredients, no more road rage. Sure, you don't even need to have a car here, right? You can just walk around, right? No more, $30 just for a couple of snacks at the gas station. Wow, let me take a breath, right? And if you can find those reasons, then I think by default, you are more likely to be a person who is going to have a positive impact on the expat community, and you are going to represent us well to the locals. I don't want to get antagonistic, but if you're coming for reasons that are very hedonistic, that are very short-term minded, that are very pleasure-centric, which again, this isn't even a good place to do that, then you are going to, by default, be more likely to cast a negative image. So it starts within yourself. Be motivated by things that really matter in your life. Come here to truly improve your life. And then you'll start to realize that you can't do any of it without them. You can't accomplish any of this without them, right? Being able to walk around and just feel good and feel at peace and be able to say, hola, ¿cómo estás? Ah, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estamos? With, the guy at the gym, the guy that you yitter on the street, the asadito guy, like, that's because of them. And you'll start to realize, like, dang, the last thing I want to do. Again, it's an overall theme. Find intrinsic motivation, right? You're not forcing this. You're not forcing yourself to repel your negativity. No, it's natural. You think, wow, I can naturally fall into positivity. I can fall into being a nice person and being kind and being polite and holding open the door, because that's just how this system works. And if I were to start being an asshole, people would look at me weird. I wouldn't get as much of what I want. I would feel out of place. That's not natural. So I'm not going to do that. So you're finding that's what I mean by peace. That's where I was going with it. That's what I mean by peace, and it's chill, right? You're focusing on the things that matter. The people around you are nice. You can isolate down to the variables that are actually important to you, whether that's your work, your business, your future, your love life, your home life. And again, if you work your way down that path, you get off the plane, you find your spot to live, you start eating better, you start to realize that the people are nice, you start to make friends, maybe you find a boyfriend or girlfriend, you become friends with the asadito guy on the corner. Before you know it, you will realize, like, holy crap, I want to protect this, what I have, and what the community around me has, like my fucking life depends on it. Like my life depends on it. So if that's you, you will fit in well. And I trust that this place, by default, will tend to attract more of you. So, again, my overall answer to you is it has to be intrinsic. Internally motivate yourself by good things, and you'll realize that this system relies on you being a good person. And I think as long as we can do more of that, we can promote more of that. And we can be intentional about blending the two communities. That's something that I personally really like to do at my events, with my content, with something as simple as being at a networking event. I'm going to grab the local in Spanish, say, hey, come meet this guy. I'm going to grab the foreigner in English. I'm going to say, come meet this guy. And I'm going to put them together. I'm going to make them talk to each other and get to know each other and be friends, right? Do that. We're not going to have problems. This will not be a Mexico City. This will not be a Medellin, Colombia. They're not going to be protesting to kick us out. I promise.
No.
If we act right. That's my answer.
Like
you can tell, I'm extremely passionate about this topic.
I was passionate AF, bro. Yeah, I love that. Do you hear that passion? Right there? And I will tell you, I am someone who did live in Mexico City for 6 months. And it was before there was the backlash, and it was a beautiful place, and you could see the beginning seeds of why there was the backlash there. Lots of expats not learning Spanish, just not engaging with the culture. Like languages, idiomas es muy difícil por mí. But guess what? I fucking try.
Fucking learn anyways.
I try. Okay. I try every single day. You know what I mean? To do it. And lo and behold, I speak Spanish now.
There you go.
Not great, and it's getting better every single day, in this respect. And I think another answer to the question is, are you going to make this place a better place than when you found it? I had the honor of marrying a Paraguayan woman. We have a beautiful home in the countryside. And another answer to your question of everything grows here, everything is so easy to build here.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Right here. We essentially have this home. I have worked for a few hours every single week to make it a paradise, and it's turned into a little paradise. We have a rock couch, we have a bathtub outside, we have a huge fire pit. We host it, we let our friends stay there anytime. We don't rent it out, you know what I mean? Our family stays there, people use it, you know what I mean? And it's just like, can we make this place like, can we help to there are things in this country that we can help, as foreigners. For example, the amount of trash that's just being burned out in the countryside. That's something that we could help, correct. We could start a nonprofit to essentially help proper disposal of trash, help the environment, you know what I mean, in that way. A lot of you don't even know this entire country is run on renewables. It's like one of the most beautiful things, that is there. So I think that we have a lot of work to do. My dream here is to build healing centers here where people can come from all over the world, you know what I mean, to heal here, where Paraguayans can heal here. There's a lot of trauma in this country, you know what I mean, here, that because of the war that happened well over 100 years ago, you know what I mean, here. And it's a healing country. Yep. It's a healing country in many ways. And it's a humble country in many ways. But I think I agree with you, and I remember, Esteban, I met you, on like day 3, you were here or something, you were here a week or something, maybe
2 weeks.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You were at that, he was at the very beginning.
Yes.
And it's just incredible to see what you've built.
That was my very first Asuncion Times networking event.
Wow.
Look at me now.
Wow.
I work for the newspaper now.
Wow.
That was my very first time.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Thank you for everything that, you've done here.
Likewise. Thank you.
Amazing.
You're still saved on my WhatsApp as Andrew-Sistema. Because that's how I met you. It's like, it's Sistema Health.
What's so interesting is that, it's not that my vision for my vision for the company has always been to how can we radically change U.S. healthcare and how can we change healthcare around the world. And that's still my vision here. But I've really been forced to ask myself, where am I the most happy? And I am the most happy when I am out in the countryside with my cats, with the dogs, with the chickens, with the monkeys, with the cows.
That's how we're meant to live.
And I am moving heavy rocks. And that is when that is when I am the most happy, right there. And now my vision is to do that. Yes. That is what I want to do. Sure, I'm going to be continuing to coach people and help people and build this company, but I want to build things, here. Nothing makes me happier. And Paraguay is a canvas that we can respectfully and artfully paint on with the permission of the people that are here.
100%. 100%. Real fulfillment. Again, what do you want? You want cheap dopamine or do you want real fulfillment, right? Long-term goals. And yeah, building things, getting out there in nature. We're animals at the end of the day. We're all animals. Just like the chicken's an animal, just like the monkey out there is an animal, the horse, right? We're just one of them. And yeah, getting out there in nature and absorbing that growing environment into your own self, into your own flesh, and you become the right mango. And I love how you mentioned you're going down the progression, right? I made the example earlier of you get off the plane and then you meet people and then da 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 da. I think eventually I'm in the same boat. Obviously, we both have different goals, but both of us, we have the intention of giving back to this place. It goes beyond once you found your home here and once you realize how much more just satisfied and fulfilled and tranquil and at peace you are with your life here, then you start to think beyond yourself, right? It's crown chakra, right? It's self-actualization, right? You start to step out of your own skin and think like, okay, what can I do to make an impact on this community, a positive impact in this community? What can I do to leave this place better than how I found it? What can I do to give back to the people that have made this place so incredible for me? And again, it's not something that you're doing for show. It's not something you're doing because it sounds cool. It's something that you're doing because your immediate needs have been, for the most part, satisfied, which I think in our case, they pretty much has. Like, there's so much stress that we just don't have to deal with anymore. So it's like, okay, what else can we pour our life's work into? And it's so enjoyable when you're doing it here, when you're doing it on the very soil that you're living in, right? With the very people, with the very society, with the very culture that you appreciate. And yeah, I mean, I want to give back to this place too. I want to give back to you guys, the expat community. I want to give back to the locals. I want to be able to make sure that those two have just absolutely enjoy each other's presence. I want to help people come and see the light here. And I definitely want to get out there once his retreat center is going up, and I'm going to lay bricks. I'm going to go out there and lay bricks and lay stones.
It's going to be rocks, bro.
Rocks.
It's going to be rocks.
Screw bricks.
And
yeah, like a lot of people, they think like, oh, well, the foreigners have a lot of money. Not every foreigner has a lot of money, but like,
no.
Let's just say you are a foreigner with an above average, financial disposal. Once you realize, oh, okay, I've got my nice apartment or maybe my nice house in the countryside. I've got my nice food, I've got my nice habit, my daily routine, my love life. I mean, maybe you have children, whatever, Then it's like, what else can I use my money for? Oh, I can keep it in a savings account, a Roth IRA, in a 401k, blah, 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 blah. Like all the things you're used to doing in your home country, fine. What else? Maybe I can build a retreat center. Maybe I can host events and bring people together. Maybe we can clean up the streets. We can clean up trash. Maybe we can build shelters for people, for locals, in economic conditions that are a night and day difference from our own. Right? It's like, then also your money, your dollars become an asset, and they become a vehicle that you can use to give back to the community and to get real satisfaction, real fulfillment. Like once that retreat center is built, that's going to be and he looks at that and it's like, wow, like I did this, look at it. It's here. Especially once you have like your community members, your patients there living it, enjoying it, you're going to be like, dang, dude, like this is a moment, like this is an impact that I'm going to remember when I was on my deathbed. Like screw, like dollar, again, I hate to bring it back to the example of like the money matrix, but it's like, okay, bank account go up. Great. Do you remember that on your deathbed? No. People, your patients in your retreat center in Paraguay that you built yourself, becoming healthier and having smiles on their face and appreciating the locals and appreciating and becoming ripe mangoes with your guidance. Like, what more can you ask for? And that's the long-term end that I want to encourage you guys to consider in your own self, right? That's like the real root for why I have the conviction I have in this place, because I know it's such a place where getting to that end is so accessible to where you can, in your own version, your own dream, your own way to give back to the community, your own building you build, your own business you start, your own community you build, right? You can have that moment where you stand there and you're like, wow, this is incredible. I made an impact. Great. Worst case scenario, this becomes a little bit more ethereal, but worst case scenario, if a plane came down and hit me tomorrow and a tragic event happened and it was all said and done, I think I would feel pretty good with what I've accomplished up until now. I'm not saying that you can't feel that beforehand, but again, it's like we can reach this outcome where, again, our immediate needs are met, then we give back. Purpose. Not going to get super philosophical, but
yeah,
I can. Yeah.
I love that, bro. And, maybe my bank account or your bank account is not as big as people who are chilling in Bali and Thailand and Costa Rica and Tulum or whatever, but literally we have everything we need here. We are so rich, in just what we have.
Yes.
And like, it's, if I would also say that like, when I watch those like digital nomad videos, they're like, you got to have this much money saved up. You got to make sure that you got a business that's going and pumping and all that stuff. And I would say, yeah, a little bit.
True. There's a balance.
That's true. There's a balance, but you could probably get away with coming here with something that is a little less stable than going somewhere else. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be able to build that here. You're going to be able to find it. Maybe you don't agree with me, totally.
I do agree.
I think that, you know what I mean? Like, for example, like I have been held by my Paraguayan family here. I know that, for example, my situation is different than your guys. I didn't expect to marry a Paraguayan girl so fast and, you know what I mean, do that and everything. But like, I have a home, in the country. If I decide to make a really risky investment into my company or something and I go all in and, I have gone all in more times than you can count. And in the US, if you fall and you don't have a supportive like family, or you don't have friends that are wealthy, or you are on the street,
right.
You know what I mean? In that way. And here you could, go find a place that is affordable for you to live, if you needed to, that's fine, and I just appreciate that, that level. I feel safe here. And we didn't even get to the chance. You talked about the only thing that would destroy this place is a nuclear bomb. No one even knows about this place. So if you're looking, you know what I mean? If there is going to be major conflict in the world, this is probably the last place in the world that it would ever, it's not going to be. Yeah.
Another Band-Aid to take off. You don't have to have that. I think some people do exaggerate this, but you don't have to have that little bug in the back of your head, especially if you do live in somewhere like in Europe, Eastern Europe right now. If you live in the Middle East, or maybe you live in an American city that has just like a lot of turmoil in the streets, you don't have to. You can take off that Band-Aid here, right? Imminent threat of war. Not
Bro,
really.
No one talks about politics here. Like this never even comes up. It just like you can, like that's fine, but it's just not gonna come up.
You're not gonna lose a friendship over political opinions.
No one cares.
Yeah, screw that.
Tranquilo, amigo.
Yeah, I think we're about to wrap up. I know I said that earlier, but you watched us continue. There was one thing you mentioned that I didn't want to expand on. What was it?
There's 20 things you mentioned that I wanted to expand on, bro.
Yeah, this could go for a bit.
Take a moment. Think.
You said you oh, that's right. Okay. So you have found Paraguayan family here. You have roots, you have people, you have community. Obviously for us as foreigners, that takes time to build that, but even on a smaller scale, just the friends here doesn't necessarily have to be family. You're gonna feel that they're gonna treat you more like family than back in your home country. To use the United States as an example specifically, one thing that you do see a lot in major cities in California. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. You certainly see it there. Is you see a lot of homelessness on the streets, right? And it's unfortunate. These are people who they don't have anything left to stand on anymore. Financial opportunities are little to none. They might, and this is very likely, they unfortunately have fallen under substance use addiction, which is another Band-Aid you can rip off here, right? You're not hearing about a fentanyl epidemic like you do in the US, right? Substance use, their family ties were never that deep to begin with. Their family tree, their family network was probably never that big to begin with, but the little bridges that they have burned. And before you know it, they are literally sleeping on a street in the corner of, the parking garage of a building, right? Yeah. Or on a bench, right? Here, yes, is this a much less financially affluent country? 100%. However, I feel like almost the extremities you don't nearly see as much, because in the United States, in large part due to the lack of the family safety net and just the family, hey, we got you, we're not going to let you sleep on a bench.
Yeah.
Yes, you can climb higher up the mountain in the US and you can make millions and millions of dollars, but if you fall, you're splattering onto the ground. Here, maybe that mountain's not as high. The mountains in Tobati aren't that high, right? But if you fall, at least culturally here, the locals, the overwhelming majority of locals, yes, there are exceptions, but I would argue on a much higher, basis than in the United States, if they fall, something's going to grab him close to the bottom and not let him hit the floor. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So you feel that, right? Are there a lot more lower income areas where people are living very, very humble lives? 100%. Do they have access to fast internet and modern conveniences and nice views like this? They do not. We are in an extremely blessed position to have them. However, do you see a bunch of homeless people on the street here like you do in major cities in the US? No. Do you see some, one or two here and there? If you go to Centro Asunción, you're going to see a little bit more. But you compare Centro Asunción to downtown Atlanta, night and day difference. To downtown San Francisco, Los Angeles, Portland, Oregon, New York City, night and day difference. I mean, there are entire parks that are simply unusable in downtown Atlanta due to the amount of homeless people that are there, right? Entire communities of people living in tents. Right? Here it is not nearly at that level, despite the fact that average incomes are so much lower, despite the fact that the GDP is so much lower. Why? I think it lends to the familial connection, right? They're not going to let you hit the floor if you fall off the hill.
That's true.
Whereas in the US, you're falling off the mountain and you're splattering on the ground. And I like that feeling. I like being around people who don't have to worry about that. It just makes us all feel a little bit more unified, and it creates a much stronger incentive for you to want to start a family here. If you want to do that, you know, find a partner, start a family here, bro. Her grandparents got y'all. Again, there's exceptions, right?
Sure.
There's exceptions, but for the most part, her parents, your kids' grandparents, they got y'all. Yeah. The uncles, they got y'all. Do they have a bunch of money? Probably not, but that doesn't matter. That's not what I mean by got y'all. What I mean by got y'all is they will. Is she sick? Something bad happened. You're out of town, and she heard a noise in the back of the house. Her uncle is there in a heartbeat. You know what I mean? It's like that. They got y'all, and it's not that another thing you can't put a price on.
Bro, oh my God, I have so many things and let's cultivate that here in the nomad community here, because there are nomads here that are struggling in their own way. They're struggling financially, they're struggling and in our friend group, we have helped each other here. People I didn't even know here, we have all helped each other. Incredible. One quick note, the Ceros might not be as high in Tobati, but do not fall off them. They're, be safe, okay?
If you fall off the real one, you will splatter. You will splatter. They're certainly high enough for that.
Bro, and you said they don't have fast internet connections. In my family's neighborhood in Almada, which is like dirt roads, brick houses, all of that, pretty much everyone has a smartphone. Pretty much everyone has a fast internet connection. They're actually super, we're super connected, in that way. And yet, they're still roasting a pig, or they're still, having an asado or doing what Paraguayans do. And you said raising a family here. I have a stepson now. It's been the most, I never thought I would have a son, this fast. When I'm having a stressful time or a hard time, he's like, hey, let's go play. And we just go play, and, he's going to private school here, but it's not the most fancy, most expensive private school. We picked a small, amazing community family school. He has a financial literacy class, Esteban.
How old is he?
He's 6. He has a financial literacy class. He has a robotics class. He has an entrepreneurial class. He has an English class. He has a Guarani class. And when first day of school, we take him in and everyone hugs him. The security guard hugs him. Welcome to school. The other teacher who's not even his teacher says, welcome Giovanni to school. Here. There was so much love there, And it was amazing. It was amazing. You're not going to get that type of, maybe you will have access to more fancy colleges in the United States. Woo! Okay, great. Does anyone... Bro, I don't even know where you went to school. I have no idea where you went to school. I've never even asked you. Okay, you didn't even graduate. I didn't even ask.
I dropped out.
I don't even know. Okay, amazing.
Look at me, I'm a failure.
I literally dropped out of medical school. I left.
Boom.
I worked my whole life. Contrast my life to me literally being sick with Crohn's disease in medical school, studying my butt off for the MCAT exam in a library with fluorescent lights, feeling horrible in a non-productive relationship, and compared me now.
And then what happens after you graduate? You go and work for some financial, some health system. You're working 80-hour weeks.
Bro.
You still have the Crohn's disease.
Bro, your dreams are possible here. Whatever they are.
Yes.
Like, they're possible for you to build things here, for you to build things places. And, we want more, there's a lot of crypto stuff here and stuff. We want more than that. We are building more than that here. So yeah, come, like Esteban said, if that's your, if you want just like luxury in Tulum and like all that shit, then don't come here. Just don't.
True.
Okay.
True.
But if you want to do what Esteban said, right here, and you want to build something,
if you want to go down that path, if you want to progress into a very fulfilling life, you can certainly do it here. And plus or minus some things, other Latin American destinations, you can piece it together. Paraguay isn't necessarily the end all be all. I think it is, but I'm biased. But I certainly think it is. But it might not be for you. What I would encourage is, first of all, find that intrinsic motivation, like I said, to want to optimize the things in life that really matter. Optimize your health, optimize your family life, optimize your well-being, optimize your time underneath the sunlight, optimize your ability for your bare feet to touch grass, and optimize the smiles on your face on a daily basis, right? Really take that seriously. Once you take that seriously, then you can look at Paraguay through that lens. I think part of the reason why I feel that my channel and my personal brand here has been so successful, despite it not being that big in sheer numbers, is because I've been able to connect with people on that basis. You don't just come and say, hey, Esteban, I saw you because I wanted to get the residency. Hey, Esteban, I saw you because I heard you can, I heard it's cheap to live in Paraguay. I saw you because, you can get an apartment for $600. No one ever says that to me. It's, hey, Esteban, I watched your videos and da-da-da-da-da, and now I brought my wife and kids here. Like, that's literally happened. Like, I love that, right? And I'm not just saying to come down here just to come say hey and, say good things about my channel. But again, it's like, that speaks to the type of person that I want to be able to unify with Paraguay here over time. And yeah, become a part of that community. And please let us know. I say it at the end of all my videos, like, if you made it this far, first of all, thank you. You have a high attention span. And second of all, like, what would you include? What would you say if instead of this plant being here, this was a chair and you were here on this podcast? I take the comment section super seriously. I read every single comment. Like, what do you think? And tell us your idea. Like, what is your vision? If you maybe are already in Paraguay, or if you are thinking of coming here and you have that in motivation, what sort of progression would you like to go down? What are some of the checkpoints that you want to have? Do you want to have a family life here? Do you want to find a wife here? Do you want to just get in better shape? Do you want to lose some weight? Do you want to put on some muscle? Do you want to stop needing to drive everywhere? Do you want to never have to deal with road rage ever again? Well, maybe you'll deal with it once or twice here, but you get the point. Do you want to start a business down here? Do you want to invest in real estate? Do you want to build your own house like it's fucking Minecraft? By the way, I did like a 5-minute segment on you, like 6 months ago in a video. I hate plugging my videos. I'm going to do it. After this, watch Thing. And I think, you know what? This is actually the best video to segue from off of this podcast. It was Things Just Happen Here in Paraguay. That was the title. And a few different examples, including a Spanish school, Spanish influencer from Spain who has started a real estate brand. I spoke about you. I have this friend who has this house in the countryside who's just building shit like it's creative mode in Minecraft. You know what I mean? Just building, like, getting the materials, getting out there and moving the rocks, right? Is that something you value, right? What do you want to accomplish here? And tell us. And yeah, I'll let you, including closing thoughts, reach out to me. I hate plugging my shit. Description, look at description. there are lines of letters and characters down there that can point you in the direction of how to get in contact with me.
Like and subscribe. If you're suffering from a chronic health condition, it's possible I could help you,
Yes.
too, as well.
Yes.
My website's Systema, systema.help.
His stuff will be there.
We believe in systems thinking, it's very important. But I'll just say one last thing, and I'll just end it. I'll just end it on this. I'll end it with just like a little picture, for your mind. So last weekend, I think I had just one of the best weekends of my life, and it was just super simple. And there were like, 4 to 6 of us at any given time out of the country house. Met an incredible new nomad who you introduced me to, out here. We get up in the morning, we wake up, we make a beautiful breakfast in the morning. My cat comes up to me, who I found off the street, by the way, who hikes with us, by the way. The 2 dogs who are just like the family dog. Dude, the dogs here are the most well-behaved, in the countryside, they are the most well-behaved, chill, like what's the word I'm going for? They're just well-situated. They're just like, they're not like repressed.
Yeah.
Because they're just out, and people
they're in their element.
People generally take better care of their animals out here too, a little bit. It's still Latin America. And we start hiking up the Cerro, and we hear where the 2 dogs are with us, the cat's with us, 2 Paraguayans are with us, and it's 4 of us, and we hear some monkeys, but we can't see them.
Ooh.
And then we get out into the rock, and our friend is leading us in Wim Hof breaths. And we're doing some Wim Hof breathing up there. And it's actually one of the first, I'm a big meditator, but I'm just getting into breath work and all of that. And we're doing the breathing. And just like right then, these vultures come out that are right near us, these big vultures. They're everywhere out there, and they just have their wings spread up. And it's so funny, the dogs go and bark at them and they don't care. Like they're like, dogs, just relax. The dogs are chilling. My cat's with me. Okay, my cat, Mazunte, he's hiked up the mountain with us. We're all just sitting there. We got all these animals, and then we turn, like literally, we can like edit this in. You turn our face and there's just monkeys in the trees. Right there. And I was just
Fire.
And I was just like,
Fire.
This is crazy. You know what I mean? They're all here. And we were all together in this ecosystem, of Paraguay. And we were part of it. And that's it. And then we went off and we had the fish soup with the Paraguayan family right after that. And I just have so much awajay, so much gratitude for being here. So much love for this country. I would never have guessed that I'd be in the middle of South America, in a country I'd never heard of. And here I am. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my entire life. And all I can say is, Awajay, thank you. Thank you for helping me become the ripeness and me embarking on the journey of becoming the ripe mango. I have a lot of ripening to go, but I am ripening right now. So thank you to Paraguay. Thank you to all the people here. I'm always open. If I can be better, let me know. That's who we are.
That's it. Nothing more to be said. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.